Dude, I just hope they like it. I'm putting everything I can into this benchmarking video. I hope they appreciate it and they enjoy it and get a kick out of it. I really do. Hey, thanks for checking out Pure Delusion. I'm Second. So today, pretty much this video is going to be about the benchmarking of the Zotac 1080 Ti Amp Extreme. So what we have in front of me is the Zotac Amp Extreme Ti, and to my left we have two 970s by Gigabyte WindForce Edition, and pretty much I'm using them as a scale comparison just because of how huge this card is. And I'm going to go into a bit more detail on the physical aspects of the card, a little detail about the lighting and things like that. I saw in the comments below people were asking me, so that's all coming forward in the video, also with the benchmarking, of course. But so we're going to take another look at the card, obviously. So obviously we know this is a huge card. Pretty much it says 2.5 PCIs, but I would say almost damn near 3, especially you throw in the brace. Also, for the people asking about the brace, it was an Atlas brace. I got this thing on Amazon. I believe it was about 17-18 bucks. So that's what I'm using to prevent the sag of the GPU. So I would definitely recommend the brace. This card is heavy. It's about 4.5-5 pounds. So definitely get it. It's worth the investment. So we can take a look at this WindForce, one of the 970s here. And it's a pretty thick card, so we're just gonna go ahead and lay this thing down flat, or maybe I'll do it that way. And then we'll go ahead and do a comparison, just single card wise, as to how big this thing is. So check that out. So that's one single card. I mean, you can obviously see, the radiators, it's just a huge difference. Massive. Like I said, I think it's the biggest. I think it's even bigger than the Aorus card by Gigabyte. Huge. All right. Now, you know what? Let me go in the same way so we can look at the back sides also. Check that out. See the difference? But I think mainly it's that thickness. So we're gonna go ahead and double this up. Let's see if two of these bad boys. Whoa, that's a lot of weight. So I think two SOI 970s, WindForce Gigabytes, I think they are thicker, definitely so. But that's ridiculous that one single card comes this close to matching two separate GPUs. And this is the 970 Gigabyte WindForce Edition, two of them. So this one 1080 Ti Zotac card. So for the benchmarking, I use 3D Mark. I actually own it, not just a demo. So I started off just doing the basic Fire Strike for high performance. From that part going forward, I went ahead and switched it up and did the Time Spy to see the DX12 results. And then I also did the Fire Strike Extreme just to kind of see where exactly I would land. Other than that benchmark, I did the Superposition benchmark by Uni-Engine. And other than that, overclocking. So the overclock I was actually able to get to that was stable. It was the GPU clock. I got to 2012 megahertz, which wasn't too bad. I could have got a little bit more out of it, but I started seeing a bit of artifacting and I just wasn't going to touch it. When it came to the memory, I was able to overclock it an additional 316 megahertz. So I'm totaling the memory clock to 5,899 megahertz, which was pretty great as well. I couldn't go any higher than that. I honestly think 316 I might knock down a few numbers, but when it came to synthetic test, I didn't have an issue. But when I actually ran some games, I ran into a little bit of clipping and things like that. So I think I'm going to bring the memory down. But overall, 316 worked out. Temperature during this time, you can see during the test, 68 degrees Celsius, never even hit 70. Now, I haven't really played with the GPU max volt. That's definitely going to be the next thing I'll look into to see if I can get a little bit out of it. But overall, I'm pretty satisfied, and at all the games in which you're going to see going forward that I threw at it, this card just totally destroyed.
Alright, so let's actually talk about the overclock. So I only increased the core clock by about 73 megahertz. Now some of you may say like, oh, you really didn't have to push it too far or do too much. Well, that's because out of the box this card's already clocking very high. So let's compare the Zotac 1080 Ti Amp Extreme to the competitors in the 1080 Ti market. So you look at a Founders Edition. You're looking at a 1582 megahertz. That's out the box. Okay, let's look at the EVGA 1080 Ti for the Win 3, which is not released yet. I believe it releases in May. It clocks to out the box 1683. Then we're going to go ahead and look at the Asus Strix. It OCs out the box to 1708 megahertz. All right. Then let's look at the Aorus by Gigabyte. It OCs out the box to 1746, which is pretty impressive. And then we look at the Zotac. Out the box, it OCs to 1759. So right out of the box, Zotac is already taking care of a lot of the work for you. So you don't have to do too much. And I would say for people that aren't too into manual overclocks and you kind of like, look, I just want a card that's going to perform at very high rates and it's being maximized to the best of its ability, this is the card that comes closest. Second, it would be the Gigabyte card, but outside of that, it's this card. So there you have it. If you're going to pay a premium for a custom PCB for cooling and everything like that, I would highly recommend the Zotac, because as you can see in the benchmarks on why this thing's being pushed to the max, it's not even breaking 70 degrees Celsius, and I have an OC on it, and I'm getting over 2,000 megahertz, and the memory's overclocked by 316. So it's a great value, it's a great card, and it's beautiful. It looks the best out of all the cards. I mean, let's be honest here. The RGB control in which you have with the Zotac is superior to any other card on the market right now. It's beautiful. And if you continue to watch on, I'm going to go into the RGB in the detail and the amount of control that Zotac is giving you. This isn't just a card, that just performs. It also is a artistic monolith. All right, it's there. It's gonna be in your case, and it can't be ignored. It's beautiful. They really did a great job, and I would highly recommend this card. I can't give it enough praise.
Got that. Set the stack there. Some of the details. So some of you also pointed out, you were curious about the LEDs. So, and there were the blue flashing light in which you see when you install this thing in your case. You're going to see a little blue flashing light that's right here, and it looks like it flashes maybe every 2 seconds. It doesn't bother you. Honestly, the grill here kind of hides it, but you can notice it. There's no question. And if you're worrying about that throwing off your RGB design, I think it's a very, very minimal. I have mine sitting right next to my desk, literally eye level, and it doesn't throw off the scheme at all. And I'm doing more of a white and purple build, well, white and black, but I've changed the lighting to do more of a white and purple, just because with the white custom cables went with, the purple gives it quite the kick, I feel like. So yeah, and that's literally right here, and you notice it. For control wise, and you'll see this in the video, I tried to show it as best I can, so I'm kind of going to touch on it now. There are 3 different lighting zones when you're dealing with this card. First lighting zone is the Zotac right here, and then the LED bar that's beneath it. That's one lighting zone. The other lighting zone controls this LED bar and then this LED bar. That's the second lighting zone. And this one goes along with this and the Zotac logo, which also lights up. Customizable, whatever color you want. You literally click advanced and there's a dial with millions of colors, and you kind of just move it as if you were creating your own color in Microsoft Paint. It's just that simple. The last lighting zone is on the back plate, this Zotac logo right there. It also can be set to whatever color in which you want. Now the cool thing you're going to see in the video is you have your idle color preference, and then you have your active color preference. So that's going to give you the ability to unload what do you want your card to do. Now, originally I had the card going Super Saiyan, everything went yellow. I thought that was hilarious. I had my CPU based on temperature, and then the color would change, so everything went gold. I thought that was funny. But eventually, you know, I went back to the white and blue, and then I ended up doing the Wave, which is a form where it's pretty much, if you watch any of the conferences that Zotac was holding, it's the version where this kind of like everything flows as a color. It's not necessarily cycling, everything naturally like transitions across the card. So it looks pretty cool. So when it's on full load, that's what it does. But this card has so much power, it's not going to be many times where the thing's active, which is crazy. It blows my mind how powerful it is. And I'm running at 1440p, 144 hertz. And you can do the same thing for this back here, your Zotac logo. You can set it on wave, you can set it on cycle, breathing, static, and what is the last one? Breathing, static, pulse. And that's the last one, which it'll just kind of flash like it's some type of, you know, dance party. It's a little bit doing too much for me, but if you want, you can have it set to do that, whether it's active, idle, your choice. So that's pretty much all I have with just details on the cards. I just wanted to give everybody a clean shot and answer some of those questions. And this is mainly based on the comments in which everyone left below in the comment section. So everything we're going to look at now is more details where you'll get to see the card active and also the benchmarks and the graph that I threw together for the games in which I play. And pretty much for my comparison, because obviously, you know, I'm a small timer, I'm just, you know, getting this stuff going. I have this card, and then I referenced it in comparison to my SLI 970s, which I felt like, you know, there's not a lot of videos that can compare 970s to much. So there you have it. If you have a 1970 and you're curious as the performance game which you're going to get, and I'm looking at this on max settings, ultra, on a 1440p 144 hertz monitor, G-Sync, you're curious, like, oh, well, I wonder how that stands up comparative to a 1080 Ti, which has been overclocked. You'll find out in this video. So that's all I got. Thanks again for watching. Please like and subscribe and comment below any details.
So when you're looking at these benchmarks, everything was recorded and reported on the ultra setting. So that was the averages in which I took. It was on ultra. If there was a step above ultra, I did it. Like, for example, Ark Survival Evolved, that was on epic. So those numbers are based off of epic. When you see the frame rate, which is max 144, that is just basically saying, hey, it obviously went over 144, could have put 200, but I figured 144 hertz monitor, I'll just stop it right there because that's insane, the frame rate being that high in general. And just an FYI, Ark Survival Evolved did not like my SLI. And yeah, I threw in Dota 2 and Hearthstone. I love both of those games. Not the most challenging, but I figured a lot of people play them, so you'll probably want to know what the benchmarks were for those simple games. Now, what we're looking at here is the waveform on the Firestorm option. So I was trying to explain it. You can kind of see how the colors just slowly transition in between each other. And now that's pretty much the mode I use when the card is active. So when I'm playing a game, suddenly, you know, the colors start to spiral and everything like that. I think it's a pretty cool look. On the back side of the plate, you see the plate. You see the Zotac logo. That is actually not waveform. That is actually being cycled. Currently, they will not let you waveform the back plate. I'm not exactly sure why. I guess it would be hard to transition that many colors within just that little logo. So I have it cycling currently when the card is active. And like you'll see, I'm going to go into more detail about the RGB commands. You have an option of either controlling your idle color scheme versus when the card is actually active, which I think is a great touch. I've personally never owned a graphics card which gave me so many options, especially for just RGB. So definitely seems like Zotac is very aware of the climate of RGBs ruling everything currently, and it made it very accessible and easy to do.
Alright, so if you're still watching, that's pretty much the end of the benchmarking, but just some details, because like I said, I know there's not too many owners of this card. If you check the link below, I linked it, the Firestorm in which they include on the disc does not work. The whole application, which controls the lighting, your overclocking, everything, does not work. If you contact customer support, they actually won't be able to help you. They'll give you answer someone actually figured out on the PC part picker forum. So follow the link below. That's what you need to download. I will uninstall whatever you've installed off the disk, restart your computer, and then go to that link and install that. That'll give you complete control over the spectrum of colors to do with this card and to overclock. Me personally, I know a lot of people, they like using UVGA or, MSI. I actually think this is pretty simple and straightforward. I don't have an issue with their overclocking software. And on top of it, it controls the lighting to the card. So that's just my recommendation of one, Zotac 1080 Ti Amp Extreme owner. So hopefully that helps anybody that's still watching. Once again, please like, subscribe, comment below. Give us small time guys a chance to compete with the juggernauts. And once again, thanks for watching. I appreciate you guys. Thanks.